Denny Hamlin's actions at Pocono are still raising some eyebrows as to whether or not the JGR driver was in the right to do what he did. And this time, Larson has the support of one of the greatest critics and current drivers in NASCAR, Kyle Busch. The former Candyman hasn't held back words when it comes to letting everybody know how he feels about this entire situation. And Hamlin has also hit back at the haters who didn't like what they saw, as he feels everything was part of the show called racing. The drama is on, and if there is someone who is on the receiving end of things, it's Denny Hamlin. During the Pocono race the previous week, we've seen an incident that really hurt every NASCAR fan's feelings. After a touch that kicked him out of balance and momentum, Larson had to contend with a miserable P21 finish with just a couple of laps remaining in the race. Prior to that, he and Hamlin fought for the race win, and it's safe to say that Larson's words echoed the general opinion of the NASCAR fan base. The move was not necessary, but it was the only thing that Hamlin could do and needed to do if he was to take over the lead of the race. Being a former champion, Larson knows what it takes to get out on the thick end of things in these types of accidents, but more often than not, he's been the victim in these crashes. We also remember the incident in Las Vegas last year, where Bubba Wallace, 23XI Racing's driver and Denny Hamlin's protege, acted when Larson clipped him off the wall. And even though Larson's reaction was truly that of a Cup Series champion, now he hasn't been as composed as you'd normally expect. And considering the magnitude of the accident, I couldn't see him being calmer either. Kyle Busch has joined the conversation as well, and according to him, his former teammate in JGR has done this quite a few times in his career, something that earned him the nickname of the least popular driver on the grid. Remember, Hamlin is the most successful driver in NASCAR to never win a championship, and if you were to take a walk throughout the grid, you wouldn't see too many of his fans cheering for him, as his merchandise isn't as frequently sold as that of his peers. The incident with Larson is definitely not the only one that Hamlin has been part of in recent times, and we don't have to take that deep dive into history to see what he's done against Ross Chastain. During the Kansas Speedway, Hamlin felt like he was going to be overtaken by Chastain, and what happened next was truly a shock to the NASCAR world. The JGR driver had deliberately let off the wheel in order to take down Chastain with him. If you think this is our personal opinion, you're wrong, because Hamlin went on to admit later on that he did this on purpose, something that earned him a penalty from NASCAR, with the official spokesman saying that had it not been for the admission on the podcast, no further actions would have been taken against Hamlin. When talking about this matter, Hamlin said, "I got no respect from him, so I chose not to give him any. I didn't wreck him. I didn't spin him as NASCAR in contesting. I simply made contact that was avoidable. I said, 'You're coming with me, buddy.' That's what I did. It wasn't a mistake. No, it wasn't a mistake. I unleashed. I let the wheel go and said he's coming with me." Why am I talking about this incident when this is all about Pocono? Even though the crash with Larson, who is a very close friend of Hamlin outside of the racing world, was not of the magnitude of the one in Kansas, it speaks volumes about Hamlin's actions and what he is ready to do when it comes to winning a race. Hamlin is probably in one of his last years as a NASCAR driver, and while he has yet to renew the sponsorship with FedEx, something that has the potential to see him out of JGR, it's believed that he has 1 or 2 more years to win the precious gem. This says all about his actions against Larson, who, while saying that he is very angry towards Hamlin's actions, has also confirmed that he would not destroy his friendship over something that happened on the track, as he himself also understands that Denny's actions have been provoked by the fear of him not winning a race or having a better shot when the playoff time comes. But his former teammate from JGR, Kyle Busch, hasn't been very kind when it comes to commenting on the stuff that happened between these two drivers, and when talking about this matter and giving his own verdict to the entire situation, Busch went on to say, "With the cars being more equal, you don't want to get stuck side by side with somebody and allow a third-place guy to come into the fray. So you want to disperse of that guy as fast as you can, and the easiest way to do that is run them out of the groove. Denny Hamlin might be a little remiss, and forgotten about him doing the same move to me back in 2010 or 2011 at the All-Star race. He's done it for a lot longer than 10 years. This is something that Hamlin's current teammate, Martin Truex Jr., has also shared with the world, but his opinion was a bit more diplomatic, as he went on to add that this is the reason that Hamlin won the race. And he didn't. And this is the reason why Hamlin is one of the drivers that you can always expect a fierce battle with. I guess not everybody likes to be raced hard, and if you are to compare Hamlin to anyone out there from other motorsport categories, I guess Max Verstappen from his 2016 to 2021 era would be the best comparison. Always aggressive and on the edge, never wanting to lose position on his own merit. Busch hasn't stopped with the bashing of Hamlin, and he compared his move to a bump and run move, as the former Candyman went on to elaborate. The bump and run scenario, that might even be a worse cheap shot. You flat out run into the corner deeper than you know your car is going to stick, and you use the guy in front of you as a brake. Racing, battling side by side, you keep inching into the corner a little bit every single time. What is truly a masterpiece of this entire situation is how Hamlin has handled it. And we must not forget that he was heavily booed by the public once he was waving his hand to the crowd after his win in Pocono. It's quite obvious that the fans do not want a winner who is being decided the way that Hamlin was. But I guess nothing can be done when racing comes into question, and that is just the way Hamlin is. When talking about the boos and the hate he received from the fans, and whether or not that bothers him, Hamlin gave the most typical Hamlin response you could receive from him, as he tweeted a picture from fans showing him the middle finger from the stands and said, "Thanks for the love, Pocono." Lots of 11s out there, hinting that lots of the fans who were showing the middle finger to him were Larson fans, and not his. All in all, it was a very interesting situation, and while Larson got away with the thick end of things, I highly doubt that he would cross the line and crush his friendship with Hamlin. It's evident that Hamlin is not choosing the weapon when it comes to winning a race, and potentially even a Cup Series championship, considering that these might be the last races that we are seeing him as a driver and not a team owner, as recent reports surfaced about him taking a more commanding role outside of driving, and more towards the management of the car he has in 23XI Racing. While there are some scandals out there that are currently revolving around the team he co-owns, Hamlin is now one of the main reasons that 23XI Racing is losing momentum and lots of money in the sport due to his controversial actions in Pocono. His 50th win came in the worst way possible, and Michael Jordan has admitted that he feels the heat following his partner's controversial win. What hurts the team the most is that Hamlin did not apologize for his actions, something that Larson was very hurt about. And it seems like the JGR driver does not want to admit that it was his mistake, as he stands firmly by the statement that there was no contact between him and the 2021 Cup Series champion. Whatever happens next, it's definitely not going to have a positive impact on Hamlin, and this is just another gallon of fuel in the fire when it comes to the fans needing any more reason to hate him for his reckless behavior on the track. With his former and current teammates bashing him for his actions, and his co-partner suffering on a financial plan thanks to Hamlin's move to Pocono, do you think that there is a bright future for Hamlin in the NASCAR world? Let us know in the comments below.